yesterday, having lost a little bit in the morning, but things look much brighter today, and who better to tell us about all of that? Simon King, good morning.
Good morning, Aggers.
You still in your garden, by the way?
I've come in from the garden this morning.
Oh.
But I've just been out there just to tidy a few things up, and you might have noticed it's so much warmer out there this morning compared to yesterday morning. Just in my garden, we've still got lots of cloud, but there are just signs that the cloud is thinning up to give us a few brighter spells, and when that does, it really starts to warm up even more. So temperature's currently about 18 degrees. Now, the good news is that, as you alluded to, the forecast for today is dry. There will still be a fair amount of cloud cover, but perhaps a few bright spells trying to break through, and temperatures eventually this afternoon getting up to about 21 degrees. So they'll notice definitely that it's a warmer day today, slightly more humid as well. Now, tomorrow, we've got a weather front moving its way, and it's going to be quite a pesky and annoying weather front, because as it moves in from the north, it's going to weaken out, but throughout the day, it's going to kind of stall across northern areas of England, and that means there is still going to be some rain on it, and it'll be quite patchy. So I think we could well see some interruptions through tomorrow, rain on and off, really throughout most of the day, really. So if we're lucky, there may be some lengthy dry spells, but certainly rain in the forecast, and temperatures coming down a bit on Saturday. But then by Sunday and Monday, that weather front will clear to the south, so it'll be fresher, the breeze picks up a little bit, but there'll be some dry weather with some sunny spells. So tomorrow we're just going to keep an eye on things.
OK, bit gloomy. Please tell me when you go into your garden, Simon, you're going to test the seaweed. You must have some seaweed dangling there, don't you?
Yeah, I've got one corner with seaweed, another corner with some pine cones. Yeah, it's all there. Crystal ball in the other corner.
Perfect. Well, I'm sure you'll be spot on. We'll keep our fingers crossed for tomorrow. Thanks, Simon, very much indeed for joining us. Well, OK, a little bit sort of scruffy tomorrow by the sounds of it, but that's a shame. But today, at least, is all set fair, and we should get a little bit of time remaining, and we have got some overs to make up. Just a few, I think, from yesterday. More or less half an hour of play that we didn't get from yesterday. Dominated, of course, yesterday by Dom Sibley, who's been out and about speaking to the media this morning, including Alison Mitchell.
Well, Dominic, the team were in a great position. Did you enjoy your innings yesterday?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it was tough to begin with, but yeah, to have that partnership with Stokesy towards the latter end of the day was good, and we've set a good foundation for the side, and yeah, hopefully we can build on that today.
How was it in partnership with Ben? Because you could say both quite contrasting cricketers.
Yeah, definitely. I think even he yesterday had to rein himself in a little bit, and it wasn't an easy scoring wicket. So and obviously added with the slow outfield wasn't ideal. But yeah, like I said, I think it's just a case of trying to build on that today, and hopefully the runs will come a bit more easily.
Have you faced much tougher conditions in terms of scoring and the West Indies attack?
I think so. I've had some experiences of having runs hard to come by, and used to that, so it's stood me in good stead yesterday. But yeah, I suppose just the case, like I said, of getting through those tough periods, and then sort of happy to sort of take the runs when they come a bit later on.
Joe Root suggested that you like to face as many balls as possible. What's the sort of mental approach required that you take?
Literally what you said, just try and stay out there as long as possible. Keep sort of trying to win each ball at a time and try and make big scores. It's as simple as that.
What about your game in terms of your shots? Are you someone that wants to evolve and have as many shots in the locker as possible? Are you content with, well, if it's working, you're scoring runs, that's fine?
No, definitely. I think the good thing about the environment that we're in here with England is that we're always trying to look to improve, and coaches are pushing you to improve. So I know that I need to try and evolve my game and add to my game, and I do believe that I do have those shots in the locker. I just have chosen not to use them because I felt like the risk was probably a bit too high yesterday, and I've played a lot of T20 and felt like I've got those shots. So it's just a case of building up the confidence in myself to use those shots in this environment.
Has it taken a good bit of mental fortitude to turn around after the disappointment of a duck to then come out with back-to-back 50s and with 100 in your sights? Yeah,
I mean, obviously wait for four months or 3 months or however long it was, and get bowled fourth ball without playing a shot wasn't ideal. But to bounce back and get a couple of 50s has been really pleasing, and hopefully can get a big score today.
You've mentioned in the lead up to this game about the weight loss that you put in leading up to this as well. How was that a very personal target of yours after the way you saw the guys performing in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I just felt like I needed to. That was something of my game that I needed to improve. And also during lockdown, I couldn't really improve anything cricket-wise. So if I'd have sat around and not improved anything, I would have come into this series feeling a little bit like I hadn't done anything. And to lose that weight was obviously pleasing in terms of fitness, but in terms of like having that in the mental bank to sort of like draw upon when things get tough out there is something that's good for me. Yeah.
About this match situation then, I suppose 7 wickets in hand, still 200 on the board. Got to be careful that you can continue this partnership.
Yeah, definitely. I think they might take the new ball this morning. It's a case of getting through that, and yeah, me and Stokes are trying to get big scores, and hopefully get 400 plus in the first innings. Will put some scoreboard pressure on them.
Best of luck, that Dom.
Cheers, thank you.
Tom Sibley talking to Alison Mitchell. He'll be strapping his pads on, ready to go, because play starts in just under 10 minutes from now. So Alistair Cook is to my left. Carlos Brathwaite is behind me in that cubicle in which we house Andy Zoltzman, the scorer. Lots of plastic partitions and so on. But, right, what did you make of that interview? Interesting, the shots that he does have in his locker, but he's just saying, hey, I'm just not going to play them at the moment. I just want to get myself in, get used to this game, if you like.
Morning, Agus. Yeah, he's got the one thing which is always the unknown, which is the mental side of the game, and you can see he understands that. He seems an intelligent lad, and he knows his game really well. I mean, I think we're all sitting here saying he needs to develop a few more options, certainly against spin, but he's got such a good base to work from, and he's what Gucci will call a run maker. Throughout his whole life, he's scored runs. He saw his Whitcliffe School, averaging whatever he was every kind of year he plays. 6 centuries in a row, leading run score in 2019, first-class cricket. This guy is born to bat time and score runs, and he did a brilliant job yesterday. And we've got to be careful what we wish for, haven't we? Like we talk about the top order setting up games of cricket for England, and over the last few years that hasn't been happening. And now we seem to, Roy Burns has done very well, and Sibley's come in and looked the part. Yes, he's got a slightly unusual technique, and I think he will develop. And that's, that was a good line. I like that in that interview when he said, "When I feel more confident at this level," and we've got to imagine only 5 or 6 games into his international career, so a huge future for him. And he's going to be there. I reckon for could be the next 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, interesting. Carlos, how are your fellas going to approach today? They got the new ball, of course. I guess they'll take that straight away.
Yep. Morning. For me, challenge with the new ball again. Spoke to Jason last night, and one of the things that I mentioned to him was not being aggressive enough. I felt as though there was a period yesterday where he could have just asked someone to run in and bowl 4 overs or just short balls. First, second over, they'll probably leave it alone. But regardless how much patience you have, if someone is threatening your well-being at 85 miles an hour, you'll try something different, maybe a controlled hook, maybe try to fend it off. You've got players or fielders in positions to take the advantage of any mistakes, and you create an opening from one end. Stokes would have took it on, and potentially could have created a chance. But that being said, they aren't too far out of the game. Still relatively in control if they can break the partnership and create a bit of a slide in the lower order. So the game hasn't gotten too far. They'll be happy with that. But it's about early wickets with the new ball.
Yeah. Were you surprised they didn't get into Sibley a bit? Because he does get out caught down the leg side, and it didn't seem to happen at all. They didn't really try and attack him there.
No, it's a clear game plan for the West Indies to be patient, isn't it? Yeah. Every one of their bowlers has got the game plan. We are going to bore England out. That's the balancing act Jason Holder has to find. I thought at some stage, Carlos was right, that they did 60 overs of it, and they thought, well, we've got 20 overs of new ball, just give it as something. Just try something different, whether it was a short ball through it, or was it go 7-2 to Ben Stokes, or challenge his ego a little bit, just to mix it up. If it doesn't work, you can go back very similar to that. But West Indies have got a bit of credit there as well, because they won the toss and bowled. They didn't get the wickets, but if they strike now, they're still in this game. Well, in the past, I think they might have chased it and been more inconsistent. England would have got 260, 270 in the day for 3, and they're not out of the game, but they're still in the game today. It's going to be an interesting morning, as it always is. Yeah,
he wasn't regretting his decision to bowl first then yesterday at all.
No, I mean, again, I mentioned yesterday that was a team plan. They wanted to bowl first. They wanted to strike. When you do look at both teams, bowling is the strong point. So if you're going to be attacking, you're going to attack the batting lineups of both teams. And in my opinion, it was a positive decision. Try to bowl them out. Bodies on the line. But, suck it up. Professional cricketer. You got how much ever 100,000 people back in the Caribbean watching on, looking for inspiration, everything going on in the world. You just need to run in and put your body on the line. And to be fair to the fast bowlers, they've all done that. So it hasn't been their best performance, but if we look at what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to do, and how they went about it, you must give them credit for what they've done. And as Cookie said, I think I mentioned it yesterday, they appear to be a bowling unit that prefer to bowl to the likes of Butler and Stokes and maybe a Ollie Pope, who are more expressive, more so than a Sibley or Burns, because they can't outbore or outpatient them. So it's just for them now to either strike from that Stokes end and let Sibley trudge away at the other end, or find a way that they can open up Sibley's end and then go back into the game plan where they're more patient and more comfortable against the more expressive players. But I think they've done a fantastic job to continue to put the bodies on the line. And yeah, the good thing is England aren't going to bat 3 days. So they know they only have 98 overs today to bowl. So just put it on the line again.
And are they fit? I mean, dear old Shannon Gabriel looked exhausted yesterday.
Yeah, it's been tough on the body. Everyone looked a little weary, to be honest. But it's another day with miles in the legs, another day the muscles ticking over. The wicket was very slow. Spoke to a few of the boys and that's what they said. So whatever was happening happened slow, whether it was seam movement or whatever. So I think they took a little too long to adjust to that as well. But today they have all the information. Hopefully they're warm. It's a lot better day for cricket. And hopefully the new ball could help as well.
Yeah, we shall see. Thanks, Carlos. We'll catch up with you later. The umpires are in the middle and they're about to be joined by the batsmen. The West Indies, there is no sign at the moment. They must be having a huddle below us. Here they come, running out now, some wearing long sleeve sweaters. There's sleeveless sweaters there. There might even be a shirt sleeve or two. There is. And there is Shannon Gabriel. He looks to be loosened up and ready. And one imagines firing in with that new ball, which they can take now. They could have taken it last night and chose not to, but they're fit and raring and ready to go. And just remind everyone, of course, that if West Indies win this match, they win the series. So there's a huge amount at stake for Jason Holder, who I'm seeing on the screen there. He might be the first West Indies captain to come here and win for 32 years, which would be quite something. He's a very amiable fella. He's got a big, broad smile. But he's also got a lot of respect as captain too, and he's done wonders, I think, with this team and created a really tremendous unit now that have got England, well, 1-0 down, and they've got to get through this new ball. That's the immediate challenge.
It is. I'm not sure they've taken it quite. I would have taken it last night.
I would too.
I thought, they're just those 2 overs as a batter in that situation. You got the rhythm against the old ball. It was only 12 balls. So something might have happened, and it's going to be still fresh for this morning. Yeah. So
I'm with you. I'd have taken it last night as well, just for something different.
Yeah,
just
something different.
Bit of extra bounce, or just something, bit of nip or something, and they might have got a wicket and not lost anything for having taken the ball. So anyway, it's something or nothing really. Now look at Shannon Gabriel is changing ends. He had a very mixed day yesterday, our friend the Archangel. He literally bowled a Harmison. Which was magnificent. He went straight to a very surprised second slip. And it was an absolute replay of dear old Steve's delivery at the Gabba all those years ago. And he almost bowled another couple as well. And then in between, he bowled some good deliveries. But he was pretty wayward. And whether that was just the body creaking a bit and not being absolutely as loose as he might, or footholds, you never quite know. And it's interesting that he has changed ends. I don't think he bowled a single over from that end yesterday, Andy. Did he? Good morning to you, by the way.
Morning, Aggers. I'll check that for you.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Get my scorecard set up.
Anyway, here he comes from the Anderson end with the pavilion behind it, and the first ball drops in front of Dowrich as it swings away a little from the right-handed Sibley, lets it go through. That didn't quite carry, and I'm looking to see, are they taking it? Have they absolutely got the new ball there? I'm just trying to see it on the screen.
No, not yet. Still the old ball. But it was a mixed day for our friend Gabriel, but he did have him drop. Sibley dropped it at second slip.
He did.
And that full wide channel to Sibley.
Yeah, Holder put him down, and you can hear Holder shouting down there at the moment. And to G up his team, 207 for 3. And Gabriel again comes hurtling in, bowls outside the off stump. That carries nicely. It's taken by Darrett. It's showing 82 miles an hour on the screen. A little bit quicker than that from here. But anyway, Sibley goes for a stroll. Looks like they might be having a short leg field, or certainly a change. You've got Campbell coming across. Now he's coming to third slip. So Holder likes what he sees. And in fact, this ball, you're talking about the new ball or not, but actually it did swing a bit in the closing sessions of yesterday, closing minutes.
Swung all day, really, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, lots of noise out there. They're certainly encouraging the big fella. Sun trying to break through, cloud high and thinner than yesterday. Up he comes, bowls outside the off stump. And again, there's no stroke from Sibley. Again, a lot of encouragement going on out there. I had a lovely email yesterday. We talked, as usual, about so many varied topics yesterday, and thanks everyone for joining in. But I wonder if you could possibly guess who this might be referring to. The topic was Dorset knobs, but I don't think you were involved in that one, Alistair. I think Tuffers was involved in that. These little biscuits. And so this email came in literally at the close of play. I wonder if you can guess who it's referring to. 207 for 3, Gabriel. Past the umpire, bowls to Sibley, who's forward. Playing correctly down to mid-on. Again, lots of applause out there for that. So, dear Aggers, I've been listening to your discussions about Dorset knobs. And I don't think you know, they were my father's absolute favourite. We went with Dad to Swanage in Dorset every summer for our family holidays, and as a child I remember him having these hard, crisp, golf ball-sized biscuits every day. I was never sure if it was the taste or the name of the Dorset knob that appealed to him more. With all best wishes as ever, Andrew Johnston. So they were an absolute favourite of Brian Johnston's. It was lovely to hear from you, Andrew. I can just imagine John as tucking into a Dorset knob and making lots of play of it too. In comes Gabriel from the far end, bowls and beats Sibley. Groping forward, a little hint of movement away.
Lovely ball there.
Yeah.
That was. I mean, it's got to be quicker than 82 mile an hour. Darrett is taken up well above his waist. It's a lovely ball, exactly where you want to bowl to Sibley, bringing him forward in that channel. Just fended at it.
Fine ball. Well, Gabriel looks to be on song today. Good night's sleep, change of ends.
You have a good night's sleep, Aggers?
Yes, certainly did. I introduced a couple of our colleagues to what we talked about yesterday as well. A little thin spread of Marmite on the toast with a scrambled egg going on top. Here's Gabriel, bowls. Oh, that was a full toss. And that's a slower ball. It was 86 miles an hour, but it came out in a rather strange place, and Sibley didn't pick it up either. Now we've got someone running on with some sawdust. Not just as they usually do. The groundsman there, he's fully masked up, and he's got surgical gloves on, and he's coming out with a bucket of sawdust that's going to be placed up there at the far end. So maybe still a little bit of damp on the ground here, but no Tuffers. And I'm pleased to say Michael Vaughan, both. Oh,
Enjoy it.
they've been converted. Yeah, they've been converted.
How come the Marmite and scrambled egg? Where's
Just
that come
a
from?
little bit. Oh, well, I use Marmite with everything, but just a little thin layer on top of the spread that you have, and then the scrambled egg on top. It just. Tuffers was talking about his gentleman's relish, you see, yesterday. How we got onto that?
Okay. I must have
And-
missed all these conversations.
Well, you do, you see. We do talk about lots of strange things at times, don't we? But I think he was ruining the absence of gentleman's relish in our hotel.
I don't know. There's been mustard, mayonnaise. I like
There
mustard.
has. I'm not quite sure what the ingredients to gentleman's relish is, but Tuffers was ruining the fact there wasn't any. Of course, we got on to, well, as a substitute, try this, and he was converted this morning.
Bovril? I like Bovril. I prefer Bovril to Marmite.
Not a Bovril, I'm afraid. Marmite or nothing for me. 207 for 3, and Azari Joseph will bowl the second over. Still not the new ball, and this is swinging in though. It does swing into Stokes, who plays his first ball. It's adjusting a little for that movement into him. He plays out to mid-wicket, and he comes up, does a little bit of gardening. No addition to the score as yet. The umpire a little bit twitchy there about where Joseph was following through. I think he bowled most of his overs from the other end, so it's a bit of a hokey-cokey going on out there.
Well, Gabriel did bowl all of his overs from this end yesterday.
Joseph might have bowled one spell from here, but he bowled predominantly from the other end, I think.
You were talking about Joseph's run-up yesterday, weren't you?
We were.
Off air. Pretending to know about bowling.
Well, in he goes again. Bowles, swinging in once more, punched firmly. And there's the first run, and there's a misfield too. And, well, they're going to come back for 2, actually. There's Gabriel there, who's left a large divot in the outfield. He looked accusingly at that rather than chasing the ball there for a moment. So they were able to steal a second. When they would have got 1, I think, to be fair to him. But nasty skid mark there across this otherwise perfect outfield. Poor, he was on his hands and knees there for a moment, poor chap.
Joseph bowled 2 of his 3 spells from the far end yesterday and 1 from this end, but he did take his wicket out of route when bowling from this end.
Indeed. Dips his head, and now he's on his way once more, and bowls a poor ball there down the leg side. It's taken by Darrich. No, I just felt he might be another couple of paces in his run-up. That's all. He seems to get to the bowling crease a bit too early for me, if that makes sense.
It does. I did a bit of research on it.
Did you?
Yeah. I don't know much about bowling. My test bowling average obviously suggests otherwise, but...
Don't even want to talk about that. That was one of the low points of my commentary career, commentating on that.
Were you on air?
Yeah, it was
Brilliant.
Horrible.
I'm going to dig that out, actually.
209 for 3 is Joseph bowling very full, swinging into Stokes, who shakes his bottom hand there. It obviously jarred it a little bit.
Yeah, I just wondered whether, in my opinion, whether he's got quite a long stride pattern. So whether he's shortened his stride pattern. I don't know what a stride pattern is, to be honest, but I think it could be the same point.
Well, I think a very good example of that is Richard Hadley, who did have a long run to start with, a long gangling run, and suddenly one year came back with this beautiful short run-up with much shorter steps. It's Joseph bowling, Stokes drives, it's a thick edge. Past the gully it goes, and let's see if this outfield has got any faster or not. The ball will actually this time trickle into the edging down there at square third man. So 213 for 3. Yeah, he's a great example of a bowler who did shorten his stride and really hit the crease, which is what Stuart Broad was trying to do too, and he shortened his run-up.
Is he now? He's still got that shorter run-up?
Yeah, he has. It's worked for him. And at the same time, Mark Wood got a longer run. It's funny, isn't it?
But I could see what you mean by talking striding. Stride, I don't know. It's easy, isn't it, bowling? You just run up and launch it down.
As Jeff Thompson, I just run up and go whang. That's what he described as fast bowling. Yeah, dear old Tomo. Very good friend of this programme. 213 for 3. Stokes looks up through the visor of his helmet and allows that to go through outside the off stump. Still, the new ball has not been taken. Are they trying? Do they hope they can nip one of these out and then take it?
Yeah, I think that because it's swinging, they keep thinking they're in the game. Once the second new ball, for whatever reason, doesn't swing. But this partnership, 130 now, you'd say that you try and change it because you just don't know. I think that these guys are in a bit of rhythm. I know it's a new morning against this ball. It is swinging. But it's old, isn't it? The 84 overs. It's soft.
More sawdust brought out by our friend with the surgical equipment.
Didn't rain last night, did it?
I don't think so. Off he goes with his bucket. Every groundsman shed's got at least one bucket. 213 for 3. Gabriel then with some sawdust laid out comes running through it and bowls to Sibley full. Oh, he's just stealing a single there to mid-on, and he gets it too. Now, that's what we were talking a bit about on the podcast. Good. So you set off quickly, go. It's amazing what runs you can get, can't you? Just pick up runs like that. There was a misfield at mid-on, and through he goes.
Those last few overs, a one-day game where you kind of run every single time, and if you both go straight away, you tend to get in.
Yeah. No one can get to the stumps. If there's a quick bowler bowling, the bowler can't get back there, and the wicketkeeper can't get up there.
Gabriel hasn't got the smallest turning circle we've ever seen.
Well, that was a good positive run from Sibley. His first of the day. 87 not out. 214 for 3. And overs-wise today, we're expecting 98 today. Is that? Yes. Okay. So he's got that half an hour to make up of the time that was lost yesterday. Deep square leg now for Stokes. Very few short balls were bowled yesterday. Let's see if Gabriel decides it's time to give Stokes a bit of chin music. Oh my word, it's a Harmison. It's another one. And that's gone straight to second slip. And that was actually more like the Harmison, the original, because it was from that end. So that was our perspective of that occasion in 2006, because that was absolutely, I mean, what happened there? That went straight, and I mean straight, to Holder. He didn't move at all, and that one he took quite comfortably.
Do you think Gabriel's just giving in catching practice for the one he dropped?
Perhaps he is. It's an extraordinary ball.
I know most people don't, but at second slip you can legitimately watch the bat, can't you, rather than the ball? If you were there, you just suddenly get one on your knee.
It's a good job he's watching the ball. Where's this one going? Gabriel comes in. Oh, it's another one, and this time it's taken just in front of first and second slip. Holder's walking away. I think Holder might have to call for a helmet. It's bizarre.
It's out of nowhere. He bowled beautifully to Dom Sibley that over.
Yes.
The over before, shaking it away, and then he's trying to push it across Ben Stokes, and it's going quite a long way. That wasn't in wide, so it was going after pitch. I mean,
where do you stand now for the slips? I mean, and what on earth's the batsman thinking?
He was coming around the wicket to try and stop it.
Yes. But, I mean, if the bowler doesn't know where it's going, then what chance have you got as a batsman?
Poor old Harmy, though. He's now got a ball named after him.
Well, he has. Well, I hope he's proud of it in a way. I mean, it's only a very... You don't hear of it very often, do you?
No.
Gabriel going round the wicket then. Where's this going to go? He moves in, bowls. Well, it's a very wide ball again. This time he's been spared actually being penalised. The umpire must have thought about it.
Yeah, as a batsman here, he's bowled three at, you just don't know where it's going, and they could just bowl an absolute Jaffa, and
yes,
there
exactly.
you go.
It's funny how he loses it like that, because that is a massive discrepancy to bowl that wide.
Did you ever have any moments where you did that?
Well, there were times where I didn't really know where it was going. Yeah, but then it's often, in my case, it would sort of go with like hitting the stumps of the hand, something like that. So there was something definitely wrong. Gabriel bowls outside the off stump. Darracks can't take it cleanly. There should be a bye there if they're alert to it, but a bit slow there. I think maybe Stokes couldn't see where it had gone. And actually it had bounced behind slip. Hitting the stumps is always a sign for me that something wasn't quite right, and it used to hurt too. You can clip your fingers. But the difference to bowl a ball at second slip and for it to go straight to him, the radar is seriously off, isn't it?
It is.
Walter's pacing around there at second slip.
Stinging, isn't it?
Well, I think he's perhaps a bit concerned about what's might next come his way. 2:15 for 3. 2 balls remain in this over. And comes Gabriel, he bowls, and there's a perfectly good delivery, that one. Just short of a length, and Stokes plays it with a dead bat. It's picked up there just a couple of yards away from him.
I mentioned the food. The food in the hotel was lovely last night, wasn't it?
I saw you tucking in.
Steak. Well, I had steak and chips 2 nights in a row. Perfect. It's perfect.
It was good. I enjoyed actually chatting to Michael Atherton about commentating with no crowd, because it is different, and because as a commentator the crowd sort of backs up what you're pretty sure you've seen, and it's there. The noise lifts it, obviously. Here comes Gabriel, bowls. Oh, another wide, is it? No, he's not called that one. That was fired towards first slip. 215 for 3. And for me, the really strange one of the last game was when Blackwood hit that catch to Anderson at mid-off. Perhaps the game had gone, but it was still quite a key moment of the game. And he hit it so hard, bang, and it was a catch that was taken about chest high, well, just to his right, wasn't it? Maybe shoulder high. And it's one of those, because you call it as a catch, because there was total silence, you think, oh no, is it a bump ball? Is it a crowd? One of those catches. And that was a really weird moment. And we were talking about that last night. And for TV, it's obviously, I think, quite difficult, because if you're watching the telly, you can see the ball going for 4. Normally there's a crowd, and oh, wonderful shot, look at that, going to the boundary. And so we're all trying to find ways, I think, of commentating to silence.
It was like I listen to football, and there's a goal scored. Obviously, the commentators, a second, 2 seconds behind the play.
Joseph bowls the ball, swings away, nice delivery that, and Sibley allows it to go by.
So you know what's happened, but you listen. So there's a goal. And you listen to how he's explained the goal. And I was trying to think of the cricket because I was listening to this conversation. I didn't feel that I could add too much to these legends commentating, so I thought I would just sit back and listen. I could just pay me to say that. It's when you're trying to explain how good a shot it was. Cover drive, which crashes for 4, and it's met with nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
Silence. Yeah, no, it's strange. And Joseph bowls another nice outswinger. Sibley stands up and plays it back to the bowler. So we do have a little hum in the background there that so you'd say is that Lord's hum, but there's obviously no crescendo or no climax or celebration. We could replay. I was on, wasn't I? Was it? Well, perhaps it wasn't. We'll see in a minute. In goes Joseph outside the off stump, swinging away. Sibley again plays no stroke at that. He's just carrying on as he did yesterday. He's digging himself in. There is that new ball, but there's still to come. It looks as if the West Indians are just hoping they can get a breakthrough with these two playing themselves in and then take the new ball and expose a new batsman to that. So it's a perfectly legitimate tactic as long as they get the wicket. Joseph moves in and bowls, and it's pushed away up to mid-off, and there's no run. They've got Roach, of course, who would take the new ball up their sleeves, so he and Holder maybe could take it if Gabriel is bowled out in his first spell. 2:15 for 3. Joseph gives the ball a rub on the back of his trousers. And he sets off again, dipping his head. Sibley very open, waits the ball far down the leg side now. We've seen Sibley get out to that. He does lose his balance. His head there was moving across to the offside, and he had a little flick.
I feel like he's missed out there, isn't it? That is his onion. Leg-sided ball, but it's almost... wasn't too wide down the leg side. He probably preferred it a little bit straighter. You're right, a very full ball. He's just got his head the other side, as it is when it's full. Joseph, is he bowling too pretty? Is he bowling too pretty? Like, nice carry to the keeper without being really threatening.
Here he goes again, bowls, and he does make him play this time, playing down to mid-on, and there's no run. Okay, I think it was me. I have to test me now. We were talking about your test wicket, weren't we?
I didn't bring it up.
Here it is. What's he going to do now? Who could it be? Sweeping back his hair. Hard to tell who this one is. The loping seamer down the leg side. Appeal for a catch. And he's out! He's out! Alistair Cook has taken his first test wicket with a long hop down the leg side, which Ishant Sharma has nicked to the keeper. And that's a frankly absurd way for this match to draw towards its conclusion. He's mobbed by all of his teammates and his friends. It was a horrid ball.
Strangled down the leg
How
side.
Sharma's managed to get an edge on that, I don't know. And Cook knew it. He's pointing towards somebody there in the pavilion to say, thank you for teaching me how to bowl that or something. It was a horrid ball. Poor old Sharma, who was dismissed a number of times in Test cricket. Now, I venture, without having gone through all of his stats, that's the worst. Oh, that's better than I thought.
What was it, absurd? Long hop.
Dear. Oh, poor old Sharma.
How many other words did you use to describe that?
I'm so glad we heard that again. Well, I've always been a model of accuracy in terms of my commentary, Cookie. That's the thing.
I don't think it was a long hop. It was, I'd say it was nicked off.
It was a dreadful ball. Anyway, there. Oh, I'm so glad we played that.
How nice was to hear the crowd as well?
Well, actually, that is true. They were baying, weren't they? I'll do one more ball. Isha's coming in here to restore some sanity to proceedings. We've got Gabriel again. Goodness knows where this one's going to go. Second slip's ready. So he comes in, bowls. Oh, almost gets a caught behind. And that's the danger. The ball's going all over the place. That one just moved away. Cookie, your thoughts on that or anything else that springs to mind? Isha's coming in.
Well, I thought that was a bit harsh, calling it a long hop. Absurd, he'd got a wicket. I actually did run round a bit. It was a bit embarrassing how I celebrated. Like Alan Shearer scoring on the winner in the FA Cup final. But I was pointing to David Saker, England's then bowling coach, an Australian. Because he was moaning how he never got a test wicket, and I was pointing to him saying, I've got one and you haven't. Very, very gracious I was.
Should have bowled yourself more, Cookie, as Gabriel comes in from the James Anderson end, bowling around the wicket to Stokes. Struck on the pad, they go up for the appeal. Umpire unmoved, probably height. On that occasion from Gabriel, just getting his radar right. The last couple of deliveries, it's been licorice all sorts this morning from Shannon Gabriel running into bowl. Lots wide of the off stump. And we'll just look at the replay. It's a good length delivery. He's zoning in on that leg stump. Stokes looking to whip it away leg side, misses it completely, and probably at best umpire's call if they were going to review. So he has the ball back in his hands once more. Gabriel at the top of his mark. Yeah, I remember that period, Cookie. I remember you did all sorts of impressions, didn't you? Bowling impressions. As
I did one.
Gabriel comes in now. Stokes, who's solidly defending back past the bowler, looks to push off with a single as mid-on, sprints towards the ball to collect it, and stops himself a couple of strides down the pitch. Stokes, who was it? Bob Willis?
I did a Bob Willis, and I only decided as I turned, and I really should have run from a bit further in. I should have come almost from the side screen, but yeah, that was a bit of fun. Gary Balance is bowling the other end, so you can see the game had drifted a little bit. Yeah, good fun. It was good fun. The game was India batted out the draw on the last day.
Was that the same day that? No, that wasn't the same day that Dhoni took the gloves off and started bowling.
He bowled a bit in that series, I think.
As Gabriel is in now to Stokes, bowls down the leg side. It's a good take from Dowrich, leaping away to his right to dive and stop. He's been fairly active in this Test match so far.
Hasn't been easy at all. The ball's been flying, and also actually the horrible wobble which you get in England, where once it passes the bat, sometimes it just gets that perfect seam up position to swing, and it swings or it dips. And I mean, it looks on TV when you totally miss it, then nothing's happened. But you know, knowing standing next to the keeper that's there, it does do it, and it's very, very hard.
I can just imagine Ben Stokes is thinking, "What's next?" Just got to try and focus on this ball. As Gabriel steams in now around the wicket to Stokes, who clips off his legs out to deep backwards square. There is a man positioned out there 15 metres off the boundary. The throw comes in as Stokes scuttles through for a single, goes to 66. Score now for England then 216 for 3. And it's quite laboured for Shannon Gabriel this morning. Very wayward indeed, not getting his radar right, not getting his body through the ball and his action as he's coming through the crease. But that does present a challenge to the batsman, because you're expecting to be, I guess, always having to play something, especially in conditions like this, overcast, grey skies, the ball moving around, zipping around, and at times it's so far wide that you almost can't believe it. So you're kind of expecting that again, aren't you?
But in between, he then bowled some Jaffers. So it's been. He hasn't gone, it's still, I think his economy rate is less than 3, isn't it? So he might not have been absolutely perfect, but in between those few Harmisons, as poor Steve is now known as Aggers is calling them, there's been some really good balls. Andy, you look like you've desperate to tell me something.
I was looking at England batsmen lasting to the second new ball, and Sibley has done so in this game. The last England opener to do that was you, Alistair, in 2017.
As Joseph comes into Stokes, who's punching to mid-on, no run.
When you made it double 100 in a day-night test. You were also the previous 3 occasions. Sibley's the first non-Alistair Cook England opener to make it as far as the 81st over of an innings since Andrew Strauss at Lord's in 2009 against Australia, which was England's first win at Lord's against Australia since 1934.
Is that in the first innings?
Yeah.
Wowza.
Oh, yeah, sorry, no.
As Stokes is back and across. driving to mid-on once more, finds the fielder.
Yeah, that's sort of in the first innings of batting first, so basically the first day, lasting through to the second new ball on the first day. So I had too many filters on my stat there.
For a lot of levels.
My mum hasn't texted me yet. Normally every day she's been texting for a stat for you, hasn't she? I haven't had that one yet, so I haven't had anyone. I'm waiting for my phone.
I spoke to you this morning. You said she's been giving you summaries.
Yeah, she
at the end
does.
of every day as well.
She likes keeping in contact with her.
Joseph bowls outside the off stump to Stokes, who leaves.
With her thoughts on the day. I can't remember what she was saying. She enjoyed yesterday's play, I think. In between gardening, sometimes she's in, sometimes she's watching it on TV, sometimes she's in the garden listening to TMS. So, yeah.
What were her thoughts on the final day of Southampton?
Let me just get that out. Let me just get that up.
2 slips in the gully for Ben Stokes as Joseph pushes away, bowling over the wicket, the right arm bowler, and Stokes goes for it but misses it as it goes through to Dowrich. Interested behind the stumps with the West Indies. Stokes on
17 balls in Karachi and 315 at the Oval against West Indies in 2000. England won both of those games, so it'll be interesting to see if they can... the 300-ball century is the key to victory in Test cricket.
Here's Joseph bowling outside the off stump. Stokes pushes forward and gets a single off a thick inside edge, Sibley calling him through. I think at that point, I think we need to say that other ways of winning Test matches with centuries are available.
Yes, BBC balance and all that.
Yeah. But it would be Stokes' slowest Test 100 if he gets there. He's made 9 up until now, but he's been there for 242 balls.
Dom Sibley's definitely had an impact on him. But just to talk about the dressing room, Simon, it was so satisfying to see Joe Denley out. He's copped a lot of criticism, and for him to be one of the first up and up front, smiling, looking genuine, clapping, that's a healthy dressing room to be in, or at least it looks that way.
Yeah, it's not easy for Joe Denley to sit and watch the match this week after being left out. Here's Joseph bowling full to Sibley, who pushes it into the offside, and it goes up towards mid-off, and there is no run. I mean, that looked like a nice juicy full ball to drive, but Sibley has, generally speaking, denied himself. He pushes that rather than unfurls the drive. Yeah, they were all out beneath us, standing on the balcony, as they would be if there were a big crowd in as well. And that's the one disappointing thing for Sibley. He scored 100 with no one here to watch it. Sibley's 101 not out now, 261 for 3. England not lost a wicket this morning, not lost a wicket for a long time in this game. It's pushed onto the back foot there by Alzari Joseph, and defends it back up the pitch, and there is no run. So we've got 9 minutes to go until lunch. Stokes is 96 not out, and England have been out there for 106 overs. The stand now, well, they've taken the score from 81, so it's worth 180 for this 4th wicket.
It's the slowest Test 100 anywhere since November 2014, when Tamim Iqbal also took 312 balls to reach 3 figures for Bangladesh against Zimbabwe, and it's the joint 3rd slowest in the last 14 years of Test cricket.
Yeah, that doesn't particularly surprise me. But he's done a very effective job for his team, Sibley's. And he's done the job that England have picked him to do as well. That's the key thing.
Getting runs at this level is very difficult, Simon, and the fact that he has found a way to do it is credit to him. And listening to his interview, he said, you know, he will get more expansive and more expressive as he gets more comfortable. Yeah. But the most important thing is knowing how to get runs, and he certainly knows how to do that.
Yeah, he's made a promising start to his Test career. Here is a new over from Gabriel with Stokes on 96. And Stokes is beaten, or perhaps just given the benefit of the doubt there. I think he shaped to play at it and then held the bat inside the line, just pulling it away towards the leg side. For Stokes, where are his scoring options? Well, if Gabriel drops short outside the off stump, there's a big gap between backward point and cover. There's a man back on the deep backward square leg boundary. I presume there's a fine leg in as well. I can't see him. He's down beneath the camera gantry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there is a man down there. Fine leg. So Stokes 4 away. Gabriel rushing in to bowl to him now. Stokes gets a very wide ball, which he does not chase. He chased one that was even wider in the previous over. It did look like a wide, past the return crease, over the top of the return crease, and not signalled by umpire Goff.
Yeah, I mean, they're really sympathetic with Shannon and his body and the obvious challenges of being a fast bowler, the commute and everything. But I think at this point in time, he just needs to use his gifts. You're quick. You need to be more challenging than this. You basically wasted the first new ball, and well, in the process, we wasted the second one as well.
Gabriel bowls to Stokes. Stokes chases a wideish delivery, hammers it straight to mid-off. Doesn't time that. He felt that was the ball to hit for 4 to go to 100. A wry look on his face there. I think he knows. He practices the shot again. He did go after it, bobbling up towards mid-off. Stokes down the pitch to do some gardening. Settles as Gabriel gets to the top of his mark at the far end on a still grey morning, grey afternoon now at Old Trafford. The flag's barely fluttering on top of the pavilion at the far end of the ground. Stokes settles. Gabriel comes in to bowl to him. Stokes turns that away down towards fine leg. Subfielder Bonner is onto it, and Stokes gets a single. Nkrumah Bonner down there.
Yes, it is. No cap. Hasn't been presented as test cap as yet. I remember those days. I was trudging around the boundary in Sri Lanka, diving around, losing my pants in some instances. But when you do get that first test cap, it is one of the days of your life. And I'm sure he'll be patiently waiting on his. Hopefully West Indies could win this test and he could get it in the last test.
You've played one of your test matches was MCG on Boxing Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, debut test. Yeah. First ball he faced was on a hat trick, and the second one was a windy woof, according to the commentator at the time. Inside edge down to fine leg and off strike.
262 for 3. So Sibley's on strike on 101. The leg slip is in. Jason Holder, 2 orthodox slips in the gully, and Gabriel goes into bowl to Sibley. Oh, very wide. Surely that's going to be called, is it? No, it's not. Darridge is sprawled away to his right-hand side again. Not for the first time this morning. He's been left and right with Gabriel bowling. There's 1 ball left in the over, and the clock is moving to about 4 minutes to 1. So Stokes is 3 away from 100. He's not on strike at the moment. 1 over to get to his 100 before lunch. I wonder if that sort of thing bothers him. I'm not sure it particularly does. Not the way he's played in this innings. Seems absolutely focused, determined to get 100 here. Sibley looks up. Gabriel runs into bowl. It's very wide. Sibley chases that and misses it. Again, it swings away, taken by Darridge between first and second slip. So Stokes will be on strike for the last over before lunch. Or I think it's going to be the last over before lunch, unless, of course, Roston Chase bowls it, which is exactly what is going to happen. It's the obligatory 1 over for the spinner before lunch. Stokes on 97.
Roston will be fancying this over to the left-hander. Not sure if he'll try to get it before or after lunch. Nice little 6-ball battle coming up.
What would you do, Carlos?
There's enough time in the game. It looks a matter more of when he'll get to 100 and not if he'll get to 100. So I'm sure he's happy to play the patient game, the waiting game. And he has Dom Sibley if he needs any inspiration on how to get through a 6-ball period. Perfect man is at the other end.
Roston Chase bowled before lunch yesterday and picked up a wicket with his second ball. So there's a little game within a game here, with Chase coming on to bowl and Stokes 3 away from 100. What have we got in terms of a field? We've got a mid-on's quite deep. There's a deep cover and there is a deep forward square leg. Yesterday Stokes took on Chase and hit him over cow corner region. It's sort of a bob each way, that fielder. He's not deep backward, he's not quite cow corner.
But I think yesterday they had him quite behind square.
Yeah.
Now he's more just forward of square, which I think is a more...
They had 2 out at one point, and a deep backward and a cow corner. And he's sort of halfway between the two. Here is Chase into bowl to Stokes, and Stokes gets a spinning ball. It's quite wide, slow turn away from the left-hander. There must be a mid-long off in as well.
Must be.
Yeah, there's a long off in as well. We can't see him. Here is Chase bowling to Stokes. He's back into his stumps, playing quietly. into the hands of short leg. And there's no run. Probably 4 balls to go until lunch. Clock ticks towards 1 o'clock. Chase goes in, bowls to Stokes. Stokes gets another slow spinning ball outside the off stump, turning away from him. He lets it go. Well, no inclination here to take Chase on just before lunch. Biding his time. If he gets the bad ball, well, that might be a different matter. Chase bowls to Stokes. Stokes is back nudging this away. This will be 2, I think. Bonner comes in from deep forward square leg. And now the task is a bit more straightforward for Stokes. He only needs 1. He's on 99, and it's 264 for 3.
I think it's a bit more challenging now. Do you just play forward? Yeah. Do you just get back and defend? Or do you try to roll your wrist and get a single? 3 balls to get 1 run. Discipline, Benjamin.
Yeah. Well, the focus is on Sibley as well, if they were to try and pinch a quick single, to be backing up, be ready, to be alert. They've taken the short leg out now and put him backward a square on the onside. So backward square leg, where Stokes actually knocked that last ball. So there are 2 balls left in the morning session. The field's coming up now, apart from that deep forward square leg field, just to prevent Stokes having that, playing that sweep stroke. Here goes Chase to bowl to Stokes. Stokes is forward, dead batting it into the offside, and there is no run. We said that the long off is still out, so that's an option, but it also brings the degree of risk. Right, the clock is ticking around to 1 o'clock. I think this will be the last ball before lunch, and Stokes is on 99. Just composing himself. Not many singles on offer. Not obviously so anyway. Chase goes in, bowls to Stokes, who's beaten by a ball that turns. He was leaning forward, perhaps trying to manoeuvre it into a gap, dropping it into a gap, but he missed it, and the players are walking off, so Ben Stokes will take lunch 99 not out. Dominic Sibley beat him to his 100 earlier on, although he took many more balls. Stokes was 31.2 overs behind him. Morning session, well, another attritional one, I think it's fair to say. 26 overs and 57 runs. England have not lost a wicket in the morning. At the moment, the game hasn't advanced that much, but England have those runs in the bank, and there's some turnout there as well for Roston Chase.
I think this puts a lot of pressure on the West Indies batting unit, because they're happy to get 300. That's actually been a target, but if England can go on and bat the whole day, probably even into tomorrow a bit, and get 450, that could easily bat West Indies out of the game and put an insurmountable total in front of them.
Yep, the applause for Sibley and Stokes as the players walk off for lunch. They're down beneath us, applause in the dressing room, that is. So 264 for 3 at lunch. Sibley 101, Stokes on 99, and the partnership moving towards 200. Now, West Indies will be very much regretting, I imagine, dropping Dom Sibley yesterday on 68, holder at slip. And it again shows just how important fielding is in the modern game. But what does it take to be a good fielder? Why has the standard generally become so good in the last few years? And how can club players improve? For the next half an hour or so, Phil Tufnell, I have just read that word, Phil Tufnell, Michael Vaughan and Mark Chapman are joined by 2 of the greatest fielders of all time, Paul Collingwood and Jonty Rhodes, to talk about the art of fielding.
Tuffers and Vaughan's Cricket Show on 5 Live.
Do you think? I promise you, Phil, it isn't. And there's a danger that any or every question I put in your direction tonight is either going to make me try to sound like a smart aleck or take the mick. And I'm genuinely not.
I'll say one thing. When I toured Australia in, I think it was 1990, I won 2 KFC fielding awards. Thank you very much on the television.
Did you, Phil?
Yes, I did. One catching Michael Slater. Well, both catching Michael Slater, both on the hook. It's amazing what you can do with your eyes closed.
Yes. Did you get a bargain bucket?
I did. I got KFC free for the whole tour.
Oh, brilliant.
I don't
Dom,
think,
anything-
chappers, you could have had two more dynamic fielders to put together to do a whole hour on how to become the best fielder that you possibly can be. Tufnell and Vaughan were right up there with the worst, but we caught one a few too, Phil.
We did, and I think it's another thing like wicket keeping, though. I think you're sort of born a good fielder because you can make yourself a sort of better fielder by hours of practice and what have you. But you were talking like John T. Rhodes, Paul Collingwood. I'm never going to catch a catch like that.
Okay,
No, you're not.
But that difference between being born a fielder and training to improve your fielding, it would be fair to say, Phil, particularly with you, you might have played, well, you were definitely in an era where the fielding wasn't as worked on in the same way that the fielding is worked on now.
Correct, yeah. I mean, it started to change in those sort of like middle 90s, perhaps, But I mean, when I first started, sort of like late 80s, it was a couple of high catches in the morning, a couple of throws into the wicket keeper, and then off to do your bowling and your batting. Really, that was a bit of a secondary sort of thought for the coaches, but it slowly started to get into it more. Obviously, the slip catchers would have a few, but not like the boys are doing it now.
So, do you think you'd have been a better fielder with better drills?
I'm not sure. I mean, you did, as you said. I had to make myself a competent mid-on. You know what I mean? And so you do sort of like, the more you do it, the better you become. It's as simple as that. And I managed to run a few out and cling on to a few for sure. But yeah, the drills perhaps. Yeah, well, I think they must do, mustn't they? Just the more you do something, the better you become at it.
But Phil, I'm with you. And what you said to start with, I think you're born a natural fielder.
Yeah.
I couldn't catch naturally, and I'm the first to admit it. I was useless at catching, but what I did get was a lot better when Peter Moores took over the coaching role.
Yeah.
Peter Moores just drilled you day in, day out with catching technical drills. You had the bowling machine firing off ramps. You had to catch 50 on the trot. Then you'd have to go and do plenty of high catches, and he would really drill into you the technical side of catching. Up until that stage, I mean, it sounds absolutely bizarre, but the actual technical side of catching, I never, ever got taught as a kid. It was like, just catch the ball. Never, ever, until around that time when Peter was... Housel was the assistant coach. He was very, very good at fielding drills. And I did improve. I was never going to be John T. Rhodes or Paul Collingwood, but I did improve, and my catch the ratio did get a lot more in favour of being... in the favour of catching more than dropped.
As these two have made clear, fielding maybe not their area of expertise, so thank goodness for Paul Collingwood joining us. Hello, Paul.
You're right, chappers.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Born a fielder or can develop into a great fielder?
That's such a difficult one. That I think you've got to have an attitude that you're going to enjoy fielding. It's as simple as that. And that's... as a coach now, trying to make these drills as fun as possible, so you get the participation levels. So when the boys have finished, as you said before, when they finish the bowling and the batting, and the last thing that sometimes they want to do is when they see the fielding coach, they don't want to look at them. I know what's going on. You're trying to drag them over to come over and do some fielding, but I think attitude is a huge thing, and if you've got that attitude from an early age, the simple fact is you're going to spend more time on and working on your fielding, but you've got to try to keep them as fun as possible. When I was young, I loved diving around. I was a goalkeeper, and I think I took that kind of goalkeeping technique into my fielding. So to me, it wasn't just catching balls. It was an area that I wanted to save. It was like the goalposts were beside us, and I was just trying to save an area that was my zone on a cricket pitch, and that's how I looked at fielding when I was playing.
You mentioned attitude. I had quite a decent attitude towards it, but I was useless.
Well, to be fair, you had hands like feet.
Well, correct. But I would still go and do the drills, and where I do think the modern game, over probably the last 15, 20 years, there has been more... video use to see how players actually catch the ball to improve them. And I did start, you played me in the last few years, I caught a few, but, nowhere near as bad as I was at the start of my career, because I never ever got taught the technical side of catching.
Well, it's a great point. And look, fielding has become more important. And when it becomes more important in the game, people will look more into how people can do it at the best of their ability, what was wrong with certain people if they can't catch, all that kind of stuff. So there's more analysis goes into it. The simple fact is fielding has improved over the last 10 years because there's more money in the game now. The IPL came into the... If you look at India, that's a great barometer of why fielding has improved is, you know, the money that people can make. If there's two players and they're at the equal ability, the person who's the best fielder is going to get picked. It's as simple as that. You know, their standard of fielding has improved hugely over the last kind of 10, 15 years. Fielding as a whole, some of the catches that are taken now are absolutely incredible on the boundary especially. But a lot of it comes down to athleticism. You know, there's a lot of athletes, a lot more athletes in the game now who can actually get up to top pace, can throw themselves at the ball, can dive safely, and, you know, take these outstanding catches. You've got to be an athlete to be a decent fielder, I would have to say, unless, you know, if you're a test match fielder, if you're in the slips, then as long as you've got good hands, that's the real important thing. But there's so much more analysis now in terms of, you know, how to get the head going towards the ball when the ball's coming to you. All this kind of stuff is, you know, the technical aspect is very, very important.
Yeah, I think also Chappers, you know, it's hard enough in Test cricket to get 20 wickets. You know, if you're dropping catches and you're missing run-outs and failing to hit stumps and things like that, you know what I mean? You're getting 20 or, you know, 30 wickets, 35 wickets to win a game of Test cricket. I mean, you can't give good players chances anymore. It's as simple as that, because they just make you pay, especially on flat wickets. And just another quick thing, what Collins just there said, what is good hands? You just said, you know, has he got good hands? I know it means, you know, catches well, but what is that?
Yeah. Funny enough, you tend to see the best fielders, and we've had a lot of them in the white ball form of the game, are actually wicket keepers. So when the likes of kind of Sam Billings comes out, Craig Keyswetter in the past, Matty Pryor when he was running around in the field, these guys, like, you see them and you think, why are they such good? I mean, all these wicket keepers. To me, they've got, first of all, because they catch a lot of balls when they've got the wicket-keeping gloves on, they've got strong hands, so the hand-eye coordination is very good, but they've got really good, strong fingers, strong hands. So when the power of the ball is actually going into the hands, they've got plenty behind it and strength behind it to actually catch the thing. Another real important point, a lot of people think it's, you know, fielding is all about the hands and getting the hands in the right position. To me, a lot of it's about the strength in the legs, because you want your body to get into the proper position. So posture, getting the right posture so you can move properly, so you can actually, as I said, you can get right off the mark, get to the ball, and be nice and low. And the leg strength is crucial when it comes to low centre of gravity, being able to get the ball. Majority of the time, that cricket ball is going to be on the grass, so you've got to get down to it. And the leg strength
is that wherever you're fielding, whatever position you're in, are we talking leg strength?
Well, yeah, because majority of the time you're picking it up off the floor. So if you want to do something at pace and you want to run through a ball to run someone out, you've got to get down to the ball. Now, you know, the techniques are developing all the time. You're seeing people who are picking the ball up and pretty much diving as they're throwing it. Now, these are things that are evolving all the time. You see some of the best fielders now. I mean, A.B. de Villiers now and Faf du Plessis, fantastic at picking the ball up. Brendan McCullum, another wicketkeeper I'll say there, it was a superb fielder because they pick the ball up and off balance, they can throw the ball at the stump. It's understanding what your body can do and do it safely as well. You know, you're not just going to go into a match and try something that you've never tried before. You've got to practice all this kind of stuff in training.
And you mentioned training, Collie. What would be the best drills for youngsters listening for them to become? You know, talking great hands. I mean, I believe a lot of great hands. It is quite a natural thing that they just have got these hands that just work towards the ball. The ball hits the middle of the palm, and away they go. They can throw it. It's just it's almost like a natural ability to do so. But anyone can improve anything that they do the more that they do it. What kind of drills would you recommend for kids to get that leg strength, to get better at fielding?
It's not just kids. It's not just kids. We have the Test cricketers. We have the one-day lads. We do a lot of work right from the start, right from the basics, and the basics is getting into a good posture. So if you're a slip catcher, if you're a backward point, at the point of that ball coming to you, you want to be in a really good position. That position is kind of your knees bent, your back nice and straight, your eyes very level and still. That's important. You know, that your eyes are your video camera. If that's bouncing around, and you're not going to be able to pick the ball up as quickly as if it's going everywhere. So, it's getting your body in a right position, and simple drills are literally just getting in that position with your knees bent, as I said, your back straight, and having someone throw the ball to you, straight at you, then having someone throw 10 balls to the right and 10 balls to the left. So you're actually getting your head going towards the ball. What happens then, because people think, I'm just going to put my hand out towards the ball and the ball will go in. You don't get your body in the right position. So if it does go a little bit further away from you, it's impossible to get your hand any further. If you get your head going towards the ball, whether it be right or left, then it's amazing how your hips turn, your body turns. Gradually just build up this technique where you can get into a good diving position. So it's not real rocket science. It's just a lot of basics from, as I said, using that leg strength to begin with, but being in a real good posture. And that's the real basics of fielding.
So two things here, because Phil mentioned soft hands there. Is soft hands a thing? And the reason I ask that is, I spoke to Podrick Harrington a couple of weeks ago on 5 Live. He was talking about coaching golf swings. He said, and two of the things he hates is slow down and keep your head still. He said, because if you're trying to hit a ball a long way, that doesn't work. You want to be, fast and powerful and all of this. And I said, there are two phrases that I hear virtually every time I play a round of golf. Head still, slow down. So, in fielding drills, you will probably hear soft hands an awful lot. So is soft hands a thing, is my first question.
Well, if you've got soft hands when the ball's coming at you at 85 mile an hour, your hands are going to be in bits. It's going to be. Right. The simple fact is, the ball is hard, and it comes fast. To me, it's not about having hard hands. It's about having strong hands. There's a big difference. You can be getting momentum going into the ball when it's coming towards you, or you can make sure that ball is stopping and going firmly into your hands. There's a lot of times where you need your hands to be really strong when that ball's coming at power. Backward point, it slips, all these places where the ball is literally not slowing down off the bat. These are places where I wouldn't say it's so much soft hands. You've got to have strong hands behind the ball because it's going to come at a serious pace.
Right, and then the second thing is, and I'm going to ask this as diplomatically as I possibly can, Paul. All the people you've talked about as being great fielders are not tall. would that be fair? And therefore, if you are taller, is that a disadvantage?
It shouldn't be. I mean, I think Andrew Simons is fairly tall. Fairly tall. When I watched Andrew Simons, he moved like as fast as anyone, but he had serious power. In the field, when you've got like an imposing figure like that, when you're a batsman, you see this guy in front of you and he moves the way he does. So it's not impossible to be an amazing fielder if you are tall, but you've certainly got to get your body into good positions to be able to do what. It is easier for shorter guys, as I said, to get their bodies down low to the floor and being able to do the stuff that they can do.
Collie, when do you know? When do you know you're at backward point? When do you know the ball's coming? So as a batsman, the bowler's running in, I can see something in the action. I've never been able to explain it, but you just see something different when the short ball's coming. You just see it and you think, right, here it comes. Or you can just see something. As a backward point fielder, you do your 3 or 4 steps in. When do you know?
I was always one for watching the ball right from the hands. So I would try to focus solely on the batsman to begin with. So as I was walking in towards the batsman, I'll have my head direction towards the batsman. I'll look out the corner of my eye to see when the bowler is coming in, and I'll see that first kind of yard and a half out of his hand, just giving me a gauge of what kind of length it's going to be. So just remember, I've got my head pointing towards the batsman, but I'll be looking out the corner of my eyes. Because what I didn't want is a backward point. I didn't want my head to be moving too much, but I can allow my eyes to look at the fielder, look at the bowler when he was running in. So I'd make sure that I would know what kind of length. If it's short, you know that there's a good possibility that this could be hit hard. So you're not going to be kind of running in towards the batsman is a good length ball. If it's a good length ball, generally, batsmen are going to be defending. Batsmen are going to be trying to get a single into the gap there. So you can actually attack it a little bit more. If it's short, you can almost just get your body into a position of real low and reversing the hands, because generally the ball is going to be coming at waist height or above. So there's all these little indicators that you